And all the brothers and sisters said, "Amen."
I love that you think we're going to punch him in the mouth.
Fingers crossed, right?
And I ain't butt
Come on,
chugging
fellas.
anything.
We got to do some content here.
In the Venn diagram of fucked up, I'm not sure where that fits, but I'm pretty sure I hit the nail right on the head there.
Works well under close Nick Saban adult supervision.
Randy Sanders has the team dialed in. They are ready to go.
How many bananas do you want out of me?
Don't know. I kind of want to give Vanderbilt some love here.
I love those head games at the two.
You got to weigh all your
it's
options.
So much fun.
Nobody wants to go Lane Kiffin here? I might go Lane Kiffin here.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is a new week of Liquor and Leagues. We are here. The Four Horsemen are in the house, and we are ready to talk about SEC football.
Yes, we are.
God damn it. Here we go. We are ready to talk about SEC football as we discuss week 9, and then we look ahead to week 10. We're more than halfway through this season, and I got to say, it's getting interesting as we move down the stretch. Mac and I are tied for first with 66 wins. I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me do that. That's unconscionable, and I apologize.
What a dick move.
Right.
What
Wait,
a dick
no, we're talking about me.
I would have been fine not seeing this, but okay.
Well, Grinch doesn't want to know that he's 5 games behind. Haas, you're 4 games behind at 62. Mac and
Grinch
I are
ready to
both
start talking about fantasy football.
60.
Didn't
No,
I
he
pick
doesn't.
Auburn?
He lost this weekend. He definitely does not want to talk about.
Yeah,
fantasy
but he's
football.
probably doing better than this right now.
That's true. That's true. So Mac, you and I are tied, 66 wins apiece. Haas, you in third place at 62, and Grinch only 1 game behind at 61. So
Don't
look,
think I'm not looking for ways to trip off.
right, you're not that far off.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, didn't I pick Auburn?
At first.
At first,
The picture I took shows I picked Auburn.
try again.
Oh, no,
brother.
you definitely
That's-
changed.
And
That's
it's
gonna
written in
Try
like
again.
That's gonna be
orange.
Exhibit A.
Then I'm gonna need you to send me that
Do
picture.
we all agree with you changing?
Yeah, send that picture, and I'll make the change.
I don't know about you, Grinch, but damn, bro.
So Mac,
I mean,
Yeah.
I got to say congratulations to you, Mac. You and I both sitting out. Mac has not sat out front for 3 seasons. So, I mean, come on, man.
I'm liking that, right? But so where are we at with the tiebreaker then? So if it were to end today,
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
You are dead last in the tiebreak league. I am first because I was the only one that picked FAU. So I am 7. Grinch is 6. Haas is 5. And Mac, you are in dead last with 4. You have not.
I just
voted
pretty much got to
well.
win this outright.
Well, hey,
That's the only way you're winning.
since old Poggi just suspended like his whole team.
I'm not picking them for the rest of the season at this point.
He's like, fuck that.
Yeah, because that's the reason they're going to not win. But still.
Exactly.
Anyway,
All right. So here we are, gentlemen. How's everybody doing tonight? I apologize. I was just
doing
rambling.
great.
Nice
Mhm.
buzz. Nice buzz.
Mhm.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the 5 games that we had on the slate for week 9. And then we'll jump into the week 10 games. We're going to have 8 games as we finally roll into the latter half of the season. I think there's only like 32 games left or something like that, or 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So yeah. So, I mean, we have like 34 games left. Oh, and our win percentages. Mac, you and I at 85% win percentage. Haas at 79, Grinch at 78.
By the way, I mean, you would be making some cash if we were playing without the spread.
Yeah, 78 games played to date through 9 weeks, 78 games. Mac and I have picked 66 of them right. So not bad. We've only missed 12, so not bad. And so we'll see. Again, we still have a few weeks left, plus the SEC championship, the playoff games, and the national championship. So it's anybody's match at this point. Mac, I know you're ahead, but there's still a lot of games left, and you could trip up. I won't, but you could, because it's kind of in your MO. That's okay. So let's talk about the games that were.
Oh.
Well, that and you tend to cheat since you own the spreadsheet. So
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
absolutely, man.
I know.
How do you
No.
look? If I owned the spreadsheet, I would have won the first 2 seasons. I'd be 4-beating, and
Mac,
this would be my
Thor,
fifth.
Thor is the Michigan of liquor and leagues at this
Mac, I
point.
need you to
That's
see
it.
this through. I am the only back-to-back champion. We cannot have another.
I mean, we can. It might happen.
No. I'm cheering for Mac and not you.
Although I do have to
just
ask
so we're clear.
Grinch, because you initially picked Auburn, and then before we got off
that's
the
because
call,
I thought who would win.
well,
This
I
was
mean,
just a shot in the dark. I had
Okay.
no real belief that Mississippi State would win that game. They're
Okay.
fucking terrible. They're terrible.
Gotcha.
They're fucking terrible.
And again, everybody's going to be looking at the schedules going, okay, where's that pick'em game that I can maybe eke out a win here or there?
Yeah, just so everybody knows, there's no logic behind it. That was pure
No.
fuck it, you know.
I need a game. This is the one, because you were
Which
right on every other one.
which
You were
I-
right.
I mean, I imagine that's why Haas changed too, because we both were
Yep.
just like, let's fucking take a
Yeah,
swing.
we're trying to find ground.
Yeah.
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 Little
And I don't
footholds
think
here and there,
Haas, I won't speak for you, but I don't think either one of us were like
Nope.
thinking logically it would happen.
No,
We
it
thought
wasn't.
the unexpected might happen.
It wasn't logical. The logicalness was I have to find footholds and chances and opportunities
And to Auburn's credit,
based on what Mac and Thor choose.
to Auburn's credit, I think they've gotten better as a team. I think what are they? They're not bad rank wise, but let's keep in mind this is the same Auburn who went out to California. And what was the score, like 6-3?
13-10 or something like that against Cal.
No. You're giving them way too much credit. It was definitely not that many points.
Oh, let's go find out. Because
It's one of the worst games that none of us watched.
14-10. I was close. I said 13-10.
Was it 14-10?
14-10 right there.
But look at we need to go to the box score of that game. That's what was so atrocious.
Oh, like the
Okay.
stats and shit.
Yeah, they were
No,
fucking terrible.
well-
I think they completed like 2 passes.
I'm sorry, but this has been the worst fucking game in terms of stats. 7-3.
Well,
Miss State.
You know,
Yeah.
Admittedly, yes.
Yes, that was
The only
worst
game
you're
I would
absolutely right.
say that could be worse was the Jets versus Giants. I think they had, I'm not shitting you, over 1,000 yards of punting.
What?
Yeah, it was something stupid like that.
1,000 plus yards of punting.
That somebody would
game.
have to put that stat together.
That's how
means-
fucking bad those two teams are.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's
Yes.
go ahead and look at week 9. We had 5 games. 3 of the 5, we all went the same. Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. So the 2 outliers were Miss State Miss State and Auburn, and Tennessee, Kentucky. Those were where we went different. Obviously, you guys did it in the hopes of edging some wins back. And
And we ended up pushing. How stupid was
it
that
was
of
a
us,
dead, it was a
Grinch?
dead split, unfortunately. So you gained no ground. You lost no ground. So there's an upside, at least in that regard. You didn't lose any ground. So Tennessee, Kentucky, 33. Well, I don't think I wrote that score down. 33-27. I apologize. In my mad dash scramble. 33-27. Kentucky loses to Tennessee at home. I didn't watch the game.
Tennessee loses to Kentucky.
What the fuck, man? Look, 7 drinks in. What do you want from me? I'm severed now.
Honestly, as cute as you are, not much, bro. I just want you to show up and look pretty.
I should have eaten.
Hey, that is
I'm really
The
starting
best-
to question whether I'm actually, tied with Thor at this point.
You've
Uh-huh.
you've
I
been
think-
losing this whole
I
season.
mean-
I was just trying to give you hope.
I think we might need to bring in.
I think I want to recall
Waterhouse
Mac. Mac, I want to
Yeah,
recall.
to do a
See how many
recall here.
hanging chads are out
yeah,
there.
yeah. You know I'm
This is
I'm
smell
on
like-
board.
This is
You go
smelling
for
like
it.
some
I
bullshit.
just can
Go for
benefit from it. I can just benefit from it. Let me. Can I have
That's right.
that Missouri? What was it? K-State pick.
You can
or
have
whatever?
whatever
Can I
you
say-
want.
Is unsharp as Thor is when he's been consuming any kind of mind altering whatever. He's a very sharp human being outside of that, for sure. But the question is,
Easy
herein lies the middle ground. When was this calculations being made? Was he consuming or not consuming?
He was not consuming.
That makes
Well,
it
of course,
even
that's
worse.
what you would say.
I don't generally consume when we're recording liquor in leagues.
Yeah. Okay.
And
fair
the last few times we've recorded L&L, we have not piggybacked with a
Yeah,
with
yeah.
an
Fair play.
ASD,
Fair
so,
play. Fair play. Fair play.
at the end of the day, Mac, be happy you're in first place, even if it's tied. Okay,
I'm tied for first place.
you haven't been there for 3, 4 fucking
Well, technically,
seasons.
Mac, you're not tied for first place because if we go to the tiebreaker, you're losing.
Yeah,
So
you've
technically,
already
right
lost.
now, technically, Thor's in first place.
Bullshit.
Shake and
I
bake,
want to
baby.
recount.
I need you to go for the Achilles. Go
Don't
for
you
the
love how
Achilles.
he frames that stuff, Mac? Like
Yeah.
psychologically, Mac, you're winning. Don't worry, you're winning.
treat him
He's
like
trying
he's
to-
playing on Vanderbilt's shitty ass field.
And then,
just
yeah.
like go for a
but
high
then he
ankle
does
sprain.
this thing where like he shifts gears and he's like, yeah, but technically, you know, in the side league, you're losing. You.
It's my backhanded compliment. Look,
Yeah, yeah.
full disclosure.
That's
Whoa,
his
whoa,
dad
whoa,
coming
whoa.
out. That's his
Full
dad coming
disclosure.
out. Ending.
Chris,
Of
I
the
love
4
you,
people
bro.
in this group, Mac picked us to follow UNC Charlotte. So the fact that he's losing that league is on him and him alone, because
That's
you picked us to follow that team.
I swear to God, Thor, you
That's
could
fair.
talk yourself.
But
out
here's
of
the
it.
problem. Why the fuck are you listening to me?
I don't know. I don't know.
So-
You've known him for
I
30
felt
years.
bad.
This is on you.
That's right. At this point, it's on
Hold
you.
on, Mac, because you
That's
can be
a
very
turn, isn't
charming
it?
and convincing. Don't
That's
no
it,
no
man. That's
no.
it. You
See,
gave me
that's
those
what you
puppy
do,
dog
man.
eyes.
You
You're
Way,
like,
you're way more
you-
charming. You downplay your charm, Mac.
right,
Mac, you
exactly.
take his
That
own
was the look.
logic and you use it against him.
You're
That's
like,
how you
you
win.
would-
That's the
Charlotte.
face. That's the face, Mac. I would cuddle that
Please?
face every day of the week and twice
You-
on Sundays.
you look like
Dirty bastard. You dirty
What's
bastard.
what's Kevin James, that meme now where he's like shrugging?
Oh,
I feel like I'm gonna have to edit quite a bit. So let's move on.
No, you're not.
This
So
is all
Tennessee-
gold.
just leave it
Kentucky.
in. Move on.
Tennessee beats Kentucky 33-27.
Again.
We
No.
split. Tennessee didn't beat Kentucky.
Yeah, I know. I just want
Then
to see.
shut the fuck
I
up.
want to see
I
your
don't.
face.
I don't know who won what now. Fuck it.
Just know you're in
I-
2nd
I'm-
place.
If you can just edit me out, I'll just do some analysis of the game.
Thank
which
you.
is,
I
hey,
appreciate that.
Devin Leary. That
Fucking-
was a fucking hell of a game. That's the
It was.
offense
Yep.
Kentucky didn't have
Yep.
Except their
when they
running
got
game.
fucking when we were like, "Where's the big blue wall?" Ray Davis ran all over Florida. They're a
Bro, I'm
solid
telling you,
team. And then
Kentucky, where the
fucked
fuck
up,
is
fucked up,
Kentucky
fucked up.
gone?
I don't know,
And
but I
then
mean, like you said, Devin
unfreaking
Leary though,
believable.
28
First
for
half, second half,
39, almost
Unbelievable.
400 yards on the quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
That
mean,
was the Devin Leary, former NC State quarterback, that you thought might. I mean, again, Mark Stoops said to Devin Leary, "You are the component or the key to get us to that next level." And then they go and drop 3 games.
Yeah,
Now
bro,
Tennessee
I don't
plays
understand.
really
It's
well,
so
really
weird.
well. So I don't. I like, to me, when I see 33-27, that's a hard fought game. Both
That is the
teams played well.
trenches. That's fought in the trenches, right?
No
But yet-
turnovers. Both had 24 first downs, only 40 yards difference in total yardage. Now, time of possession, Kentucky outpossessed them by nearly 8 minutes. But
Held
unfortunately,
Ray Davis to 42 yards for an average
did.
of 2.6 per carry.
I wish Florida had done that. They'd have won that
That-
game if they'd
I
have
mean,
done that.
honestly, that's what it came down to, is they shut down the running game. And,
And
credit
it's the-
to Tennessee's defense,
And
because
it's
they
the
held
one-
them to 72 yards.
Yeah, but it's the one thing Kentucky's defense couldn't do because they had 253 yards of rushing. Tennessee did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they were very balanced. 253 yards of rushing, 227 of all receiving. So very balanced in terms of their offensive play.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think you credit Joe Milton. Excellent performance. Despite how well Devin Leary did, I think coaching actually is what won this game for Tennessee. So credit to Josh Heupel.
And again, this was one of those. They were 5-2 going into this game, both 2-2 in the SEC. It was really anybody's matchup. I picked, I don't know why Mac did, but I picked Kentucky because I thought evenly matched teams. They're playing at home. They had the home field advantage, but clearly it did not matter.
I'll tell you honestly why I didn't. Is
still
because
don't
they
even know who
fucking
won.
burned me. What, Haas? I think maybe you as well, maybe, but they burned me.
Yep.
Previous couple of weeks, so I was
Yep.
like, "Fuck them."
Yeah, the
same.
Kentucky Missouri game.
Tennessee seems to be way more. I don't want to say cultured. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe solidified in some ways than Kentucky does. At least
they're-
from a coaching standpoint.
Because
Yeah,
they lost
maybe.
to Alabama, which
Yep.
we all know they just choked.
Yep.
In the
Shit
second
the
half,
bed.
Alabama shut them the fuck down in the second half. What's their other loss?
But who's
It's Florida, isn't it?
Kentucky,
Florida, and that's
Florida.
why I sit there.
No,
and
no,
go,
no. Hold on.
Florida
Kentucky?
beat Tennessee. Kentucky
Yeah, I'm
beat
speaking about
Florida.
Tennessee right now.
It just seems to make sense that Kentucky would beat Tennessee.
And frankly, Florida just blitzed them. Like, not literally, but like figuratively, they just blitzed them.
right.
And Tennessee looked like they were emotionally unready for that game.
At
And
the
I
end of
know there, you know, maybe there's some home and away stuff going on, but shit, like Kentucky did play well and Tennessee played better. So in terms of assessing both teams, like there's some goodness on both sides.
Right.
I mean,
Again,
this is why this was a hard one, right? Because Tennessee lost to Florida, but Kentucky shellacked Florida.
Mhm.
It's just, and this is why we all love the SEC, right? Because at any given week, somebody can put the other person like down in the gutter behind the woodshed, and it's like, well, we're all like, didn't see that coming, but we
Hey,
accept it. We accept it emotionally and we accept it intellectually because it's the fucking SEC.
yeah, it's why South Carolina is 2-6 and 1-5.
Hey, bro, it happens. But
It does.
but other than Missouri, who else has played Florida a more solid half than South Carolina?
Georgia,
Nobody.
Kentucky.
Georgia.
Nope. Nope.
You're saying Kentucky didn't play Florida solid.
No, I'm saying who else has played Georgia more
but
solid?
you said
than South
Florida.
Carolina.
You said
you
Florida.
I was like,
That's why I'm like, what? Oh,
well,
no,
come
no
on. I mean,
doubt.
South Carolina should have beat Florida.
But,
we
but
all know
again,
that.
that's
And
what
they
we
shit
talk
the
about.
bed.
The
But,
stats
I mean,
at
that's
the
the
end of the
point.
day don't matter.
The stats don't matter, but the fact that like at any given moment in the SEC, like the winds can shift, and you're just like, okay, anybody
Well-
who's lived in the SEC realm for any period of time can go, yep, okay.
Yeah, the
it's
only
like-
reason Georgia beat Florida was they were stealing signs. So
Well, we're gonna get to that game, and I look forward to
we
it.
will. We will.
Here comes the naughty,
But
naughty.
It reminds me of the Alabama A&M game where I was like, statistically, it makes no fucking sense that Alabama won that game.
Right.
And Haas, to your point, like an SAT question, if A is greater than B and B is less than C, A should beat C, you know,
Right.
or whatever. I probably
And
fucked that
then
all up, but you
no.
get the idea.
Right.
And
And the
then
logic
no.
doesn't follow. It
Right.
simply doesn't follow.
That's the loving that's the amazing part and the frustrating part about football at the college level.
And I think not just the college level, but SEC level, and other people in the country are going to argue.
Of course they are. They're going
other
to go Big
divisions
Ten's
or
that
regions,
way.
but I
Big
mean,
12.
But I think SEC, tried and true, year in and year out, can say it's true.
And
Right.
and let me just say this, because week one, when A&M and LSU lost,
Yeah.
we were like, shit. Is the SEC having a down year? And even SEC Shorts did something about that.
It was South
I don't-
Carolina. There's
I
South
think-
Carolina and LSU because they lost. They
I
both
think-
lost.
I think the conference has gotten its legs back under it. So now teams are starting to perform more in line with who they are,
Are they though?
which is fair. Which is fair. I mean, yeah, on paper,
Well,
Auburn was going to beat
Thor.
Mississippi State
There's
9 times out of 10.
14 teams in this conference with 2 more joining. So it's going to be 16 teams. Everybody wants to join this conference.
Oh, I'm no argument there. And if you're saying that we are a pinnacle conference in the country, I'm not
Yes.
arguing that.
Yes,
But
I think
but
we
let's go
are.
let's go back in time to when we thought the ACC was like hot shit, right?
Right,
there
back
was
at
a
the
time
beginning.
when
Miami
they
comes
were.
out of the
When
gate.
was that?
That
Well,
was the beginning
There's
of the
been
season.
times. There's been times in the
UNC, Florida
FSU.
State,
Oh,
UNC,
yeah.
Florida State, Miami. At the beginning of the
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
they seem to be legit. Now, Florida State
It-
is the only one that has carried that mantle to
Yes,
today.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. The normalcy is maybe starting to settle in. Now FSU is still winning. I think they're solid. UNC just dropped back-to-back weeks. Miami,
Clemson is not the Clemson of yesteryear.
Clemson has 4 losses. They're
Right.
4-4. You know, so all of a sudden you're going. UNC was white hot. Miami, holy shit, they're back to like.
And then you have Florida State, who almost dropped it to a basketball school in Duke.
And Boston College.
Oh, did they almost lose to Boston College?
They almost lost to Boston College. Yes.
So what you're
So
saying
I-
is Florida has a chance.
I think the teams are now more comfortable with who they are. Is where I'm going with this.
Are you
And
saying that
so-
across all conferences, like SEC
No,
competing against all
well,
conferences?
I'm focused on the SEC.
But, well, I'm just saying because Arkansas, last week, as early as last week, we
Yeah.
were like, "Who's Arkansas?
Yeah,
Who's Texas A&M?"
well, they are who they are.
They are who they are.
They
Gotcha.
are who we thought they were.
That's it. All right. So
Arkansas is the Vanderbilt of the West.
the West needs a Vanderbilt, and I'm
They
okay with it being
do,
Jimbo.
and that's who they are.
I'm
And
fine
And
with
then
that.
Vanderbilt,
Auburn and Mississippi State are like, but fellas, we would like to be the Vanderbilt of the West.
That's why.
'Cause who,
That's why
who doesn't want to anchor down?
Texas A&M
Ask
can't
Mac.
wait for next year, because then they're like, Vanderbilt is the Vanderbilt of the SEC because there will be no divisions.
Yeah.
So Texas A&M is ready for that. All right. So Kentucky unfortunately drops it to Tennessee. So Kentucky falls to 5-3. Tennessee at 6-2. Let's move on to Ole Miss Vanderbilt. I mean, is there anything to talk about? Lame train is still plowing ahead.
Well,
33-7.
Thor, do you say that without puke at the back of your throat?
I look, at the end of the day, they're 7-1, but it was Vanderbilt, and we've all had the Vanderbilt. We've all had the Vanderbilt test this season, and we've all passed.
That's the thing, though. That's the key component to this. They're 7-1 and 4.
Yeah,
they are absolutely in the mix unless it comes down to a head-to-head with Alabama. They could conceivably come out on top of the West. I think, because
I mean,
you're scrolling.
I'm just looking because I know Alabama's got LSU, and we know LSU's putting up mad points, but has no fucking defense. So, it's going to be a question when you're looking down the line, you're going Alabama versus Kentucky, Alabama versus LSU, Alabama versus Auburn, because Chattanooga should be a no-brainer for Alabama in week 12. I mean, I still think Alabama controls their own destiny in the SEC West at the top.
I do too, for now.
So I don't see a scenario, unless they just shit the bed, where Ole Miss leapfrogs them into the top spot. But I could be wrong. And as we've said, any given Saturday in this conference.
I mean, hey, they put up 10 points against Alabama. Can't explain that. But either way, they get the win against the Commodores. Yay.
Yeah. Yay. You've done what everybody else has done.
You played a game.
That's it. South Carolina, Texas A&M. Now, we all went Texas A&M as much as we really would have liked to have seen South Carolina win this. Haas, I don't know what you want to say about this game, if there's anything worth saying.
Well, I mean, for crying out loud, when your offensive line is so freaking depleted, which it has been all season they've been desperately trying to find that starting five, that they have to pull in tight ends to fill in. Like, I mean, what are you supposed to do? I think we can agree, and all joking aside, correct me if I'm wrong, Spencer Rattler is probably the best quarterback we've ever had, and at least for a while, maybe since Connor Shaw. For the last 2 or 3, 4 quarterbacks, it's the best quarterback we've ever had. We have a couple of decent wide receivers, and I think Mario Anderson's a decent freaking running back. But if you have no offensive line, if your offensive line is so in shambles that you have to pull tight ends, like, what is it you really think you can expect to accomplish?
Not much.
And then on top of that, you're going against A&M, which has, like, for the last 3 or 4 recruiting cycles, one of the top 3 to 5, recruiting classes. Like, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I will say this is one of those games where I actually completely sympathized for South Carolina when I saw another player go down and another player go down.
Hey, Beamer,
hire
a better strength and conditioning coach.
Well, the only thing I'll say to that, and it may not be accurate, which is there's a theory of, like, when you kind of are looking for a way out, you're almost not as protective of yourself and certain things, and an injury becomes the easy out. I know that's a really weird sentence to say, but I kind of feel like this is a really critical year for South Carolina as it rolls into next year. In terms of who stays, who are the building blocks for that program.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't.
This is arguably the most important year / transition for Shane Beamer. And I've said this before. as we go into this new setup of schedules and all that, I would not get rid of Shane Beamer. I wouldn't.
Agreed.
But man, underneath the hood, it's one of those like you give all the love and support
Well,
you can.
let me
You
ask you,
lean
Coach.
in.
He overachieved the first 2 years, right? So when you underachieve this year to circumstances that were
Beyond his control.
beyond his control. Thank you. I mean, how can you knock the guy? Like, I just
The problem
give the
is
guy
I
a
don't.
chance.
Yeah, but I don't see it getting better because this year, even if it's
Well,
an aberrant year,
I see it getting better. I see it getting better because we don't have to play Florida or Georgia next year.
well, yeah, but and I think the issue for you all, save the fact that next year you don't have to potentially play those teams, is the fact that you're 2-6.
Yep.
You're probably not going to
Look,
be
bro,
bowl eligible. You're
we,
probably
we,
not
we
going to
I
be
think
bowl
we could.
eligible.
I think we could win the next 4. I think we can win the next 4 and be bowl eligible. I really do.
I don't think you beat. I definitely don't think you beat. I'm sorry, Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
I
think
don't
we
think
have
you
any
beat
chance at
Kentucky.
all? 0% chance.
I'm not saying no chance. I'm not saying it's a 0 chance. I'm saying
It's in
it
South Carolina. It's at Williams-Brice.
doesn't
When you and
fucking
Mac
matter.
and I went, went to the Florida South Carolina game, you didn't think we could win that game either, and we
You're right.
weren't favored to win
Well,
that game either.
Let me
And we
let
did.
me
And
maybe
again,
It
pitch-
sounds like
hold
somebody's
on.
getting a case of the hope.
Yeah, let me finish my statement.
No, it's the case.
I
of the
agree with you.
infections.
You're playing at home. I don't think you beat Kentucky, but I could be wrong. And you're right, any given Saturday. But you're 2-6 now. You're
Yep.
probably going to beat Jacksonville State. You should.
Yep, should.
But I don't think you make bowl eligibility. The problem is, what does that do to the recruits that you can pull in?
I agree. And I think it comes down to what Shane Beamer and the coaching staff can say to these individual players, and whether or not you can get certain pivotal players to agree.
What's
to
Shane
bring
going to
other
say?
players.
We can't be worse.
Well,
I mean,
so if I were putting on Coach Beamer's hat, I think man, I mean that offensive line is just such a situation. So I'll say this, Austin. I don't know how you coach an offensive line that doesn't exist. So that is the X factor to me in this. Spencer Rattler is a phenomenal talent. And I think it was a huge boost to him coming in. And I've said this before, I kind of question why some very key members of that team decided to leave knowing they had a quarterback like Spencer Rattler.
I agree.
So this is probably.
But I think the people that left were for NIL deals.
And
Based
most
on
likely.
based
I
on
mean, let's
things
just
I've
be
read and
honest.
seen.
Yeah, I mean, even Bear Alexander left Georgia for that shit, so it can happen. He has to win.
Yep.
And then I think the whole and frankly, this is for Mark Stoops as well. The most important coaching job he's going to have in his tenure is going to come down to that Kentucky.
Yep. I agree.
Because it sets the stage for everything.
Do you guys, with NIL, I was thinking about it today. With NIL, I kind of feel like there's like is creating this environment where there's like the upper class, the lower class, and this just huge margin of the middle class where you just don't know.
Well, here's
Day in and day out, week in and week out, year in, you just don't know.
Well, here's going to be South Carolina's problem is we can talk about Spencer Rattler all day. He's got 2 years of eligibility, but he's currently projected to go 3rd overall behind Drake May and Caleb Williams.
I mean, the guy's got talent. He's smart. He's got an arm.
He isn't likely to be there next year. So who's your quarterback?
He's not going to be there next year. Guarantee.
So now you're not only
good hand. He's not there next year.
Well, and again, with no offensive line, if he isn't running for his life or gets injured,
I don't blame him.
He isn't there.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't be there next year.
Well, and that's the thing is it's all risk for him at this point.
Yep.
So
who's
short of
who do you
landing the greatest offensive line class in the history of 2024
and a quarterback?
And that's the thing. This is my hang up with him. is we talk about years in the program, but it's almost like this is a very fresh look for him of what does he do with this year. And then I think South Carolina's athletic director, et cetera, is going to have to take a hard look at where things are, combined with, so then what are we selling? Like what are we
What's
as an
enticing players to
identity?
come here?
What are we selling?
Right.
Because we all know with these young guys, it's location, it's benefits, it's NIL, it's reputation, it's starting.
Couldn't agree more.
Now that's really, I mean, it's kind of not a great advantage, but part of a sell to a recruit is you are probably going to start fucking day one, right?
Right.
Some players love that,
Yep.
but it has a downside because if they aren't ready, but yet you've sold them on the fact they're going to be starting, and if they aren't great, that just crushes
Yeah.
the morale of the locker room.
Yep.
Right.
Well,
Look,
I mean, the way he's handled Nico Harbors, I think has been amazing. A 5-star athlete who he's now, I think, is finally on the starting roster in week 10. Look, I agree. I do think Shane Bieber is the answer moving forward. I just don't know if the answer moving forward, even with Shane Beamer, is a successful one given the current circumstances. The way the SEC is adding teams, the way they're getting away with the divisions, like I just don't know how you navigate that space. Here's what I do think. I think giving time and circumstances, Georgia is in the catbird seat. Right, you're riding high with a lot of depth and a lot of buzz, giving all these multiple transitions with NIL and no division and extra teams. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful situation for Georgia. Maybe even a little bit even for Florida if Heupel, not Heupel, who's your coach?
Napier.
Napier can maintain the job and maintain some consistency. You're in a really good situation. There's a lot of flux going on in collegiate football, and those that are sitting in a certain, there's a flexion point, right? And if you're above the pain threshold of that flexion point, dude, I really think the next decade is pivotal. I mean, it's huge, right? Because if you're sitting below that, you're fucked.
So South Carolina is going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, bro. I don't think it's good. I really don't. Unless you can find some kind of leverage to get around that flexion point, I don't know how you sustain.
Well, let me ask you this, and for both. Sorry, let's complete the rundown.
I know we
Okay,
got
yeah.
derailed here, but this is something we haven't talked about that I've been thinking a lot about
good
lately.
discussion.
All right. So Mississippi State. So there we go. South Carolina drops to Texas A&M. They end up at 2-6. Texas A&M. I mean, they're still inconsistent, unfortunately. I mean, they'll win one week, they'll lose the next week. Like we talked about previously, we just don't know who they are. And so it makes it tough when you're gauging them for picks, going, are they somebody I can rely on to get a win? No,
the answer
unfortunately.
is
no. Right.
No.
So Miss State over Auburn. Miss State comes into Auburn and they drop the ball 27-13. Auburn wins. Now, this is one we split. Mac and I went Auburn. You two went Miss State. And as you said, it was a choice you were making to try to gain ground. It was close in terms of the line. It was a pick 'em game. Maybe you'd get lucky, maybe you wouldn't. So
threw a lawn dart. It landed in like my neighbor's pool. I mean, look, their combined records are 4-4, 1-4 in SEC. So who the fuck cares?
They are bottom feeders right now. So and they're going to be tough picking because again, they're teams that they pull out a win. They pull a win out of their ass unexpectedly when nobody thinks it's going to happen. And then it's like, fuck, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
who to choose.
I mean,
they make it difficult.
State, had the Pirate. He did some crazy shit that got him some wins. He's not there anymore. That's not what they are. Auburn, Hugh Freeze. Okay. Proven track record.
Legit name.
First
not
year,
a legit team.
It's just they don't have the.
You should have stuck with Cadillac Williams.
They don't have the pieces. I mean, he's on staff, but still, yeah.
It's not the same. And then finally, the largest outdoor cocktail party, Georgia, Florida. Excuse me. Florida came out of the gate looking to punch somebody in the mouth. And that first drive, they got 7-0. And then they did fuck all after that.
36 unanswered.
I was like, I was actually texting with Scruffy at the time, and he was like, no, that first drive, both teams, that first drive. He's like, no team's playing fucking defense. Well, then Georgia figured it out and Florida didn't. So,
Well, I'll tell you a conspiracy theory if you want to hear it. Maybe you
there's a
agree with it.
conspiracy theory.
I actually talked about this last year.
You stole our signs, you motherfucker.
Georgia plays base defense on first drive to see what everybody's doing. And then they adjust. Yep.
Hey, you know what? Florida plays base defense on the first drive, and then they continue to play base defense. It's like,
yeah. I mean, let's be honest, like the 13 in the fourth quarter was a bit of what Vegas was thinking might happen, which is like a backside cover, which is where it got its number from. But
let's not overanalyze this, all right? This went the way I think most everybody in the world
none of us went into this game going, "Oh, Florida's got a chance."
No, I think you look at the 20 points, and I think where you were going, Grinch, right? It's almost deceiving because a lot of that was done probably against backup players and everything. So this was a little more one-sided than the score may even indicate.
Yeah.
I mean, Graham Mertz was 25 for 34 for 230.
But according to Haas, he's not doing anything. So
yeah. But
dude, I course corrected that last week.
You did.
Don't call me out like that.
Did.
I gave you your props and I apologize. Don't call me out like that. I mean, come on now.
I still got love for you.
Unfortunately, Dejon Edwards was Dejon Edwards, and he put up almost 100 yards of running, and he did it at all the right times. And our defense just didn't seem to have a fucking answer. I mean, I don't know if Jonah Hill was scheming appropriately, if he had watched enough tape, but yeah,
he was probably watching Moneyball.
It must have been, but
remembering good times.
Again, that first drive, I thought, okay, Florida came to play. Because again, that's one of those weird ass games that it's really, you never know.
Because it's a rivalry game. It's a deep rivalry game. Yeah, we didn't think that Florida was going to win, but
I was excited by the first drive.
Yeah,
and then when they didn't follow it up with a second or third or fourth drive, I was like, okay.
Or a fifth or a sixth or a seventh.
Yeah. It's like, all right. And then it was just like, I think what they even joked about it. They were like, it was like last year or something like that. Georgia scored like 17 points in 2.5 minutes. And I think this year you scored like 21 points in like 2.5. Like it was just turnover, touchdown. I was like, I'm like, Florida, what the fuck are you doing? And it became painful to watch. My wife had a party that we were supposed to go to. And I'm like, look, if this game, if Florida is competitive, I'm staying home and I'm watching the game. And then we came out of the gate 7-0, and I was like, holy shit. And then of course you guys just started to walk away from it. I was like, TV off.
You quickly got dressed.
I'm like, let's go. I was like, fuck. But I was hopeful. I was not South Carolina hopeful. I tempered my expectations.
It cannot be reasoned with. It cannot be compromised with, and it absolutely will not stop until it wins. It is a machine. And it's a learning machine.
That's right.
And like I said, first down, if you really look at everything, it's a very base defense that is assessing what the team is going to do, which is a lot what happened in Vanderbilt with that first drive, and don't get me wrong, Tyke Smith actually made a mistake on that. He switched off the wrong receiver, so that was a actual personnel mistake. But the dudes are there. And without Brock Bowers, Oscar Delp stepped in.
Oh, fuck you and your one-handed catch and your wheel routes.
Hey, did I tell you that Delp is actually the nephew of a guy I grew up with?
No, I don't think you mentioned that.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, because I remember that play. They're like, oh, yeah, Brock Bowers is out. What are they going to do? And then on that fucking wheel route, he gets that one-handed grab.
Here comes a 6'7", 230
like, well, they clearly
Oscar Delp, who was like third tight end in his recruiting cycle.
I'm like, fuck, man. At that point, I knew this game. I was like, okay, they're clearly not going to miss a beat, even though Brock Bowers is out. I'm like, it's like, turn the TV off. Let's go. Fuck it.
We've got
But-
some key defenders back. And
Do I
yeah,
want
I
you-
mean, Etienne, I actually love him. I didn't like the fact that his brother tweeted about after the Utah game, maybe he needs to leave. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let your brother talk for himself. Look, just like with Shane Beamer, I think Billy Napier needs next year. I think Florida, if it is not within the shadow of Georgia right now, and I can say that I couldn't say that years before. You guys know that. When Mark Richt was there and fucking Goff and Goof and whatever, I couldn't say that, but I can say it now. When you're not under the shadow of another team, you stop trying to only focus on beating that team and you start becoming yourself. And I really do think as we transition into this different system, I really do think South Carolina and Florida are going to be better because they're going to come into their own. They're going to stop thinking about how do I win the East?
Right.
Because to be candid, Kirby has built a fucking machine right now. And it may do something that has never been done since the 30s. And
But
so
winning
it
three
is
back to back to back.
it is a unique animal. And it's really frustrating when you think I've put all my emotion into this for this result. I've been on teams in my life where I was just like, we just got fucking slaughtered. I am so disappointed.
Right.
Florida and South Carolina are not bad teams. They aren't. And they've got a lot of potential. They just, honestly, it's like they just need space to breathe, to become themselves and recruit the way they want to recruit. But because we're in this world of like, you have to win now.
Right.
Yep.
Makes
It's
it
couldn't
difficult.
agree
really
more.
hard. It's
That's-
really
that-
hard.
Yes.
That's very
And-
succinctly said,
and-
bro.
And so obviously I want to win, but it's not that I want to win because I hate anybody else. I want to win because I want Georgia to fucking
I want to
win
be
it
the better. I'm the
all.
better team.
right,
Yes.
right.
And
right.
if South
And-
Carolina and Florida are better, then they make the entire conference. All teams
Yes.
improving makes the entire conference better.
Yes, 100%. I want a Florida owning the state of Florida. I want South Carolina to have some moxie. I want it to go in there and spank Clemson. I want that rooster
Preach. Fucking preach.
throwing like a goddamn maniac.
Okay, well,
You
I
know,
don't. That's the one thing I don't want.
Stop. Stop. Yes, you do.
No, I
Stop.
don't. I don't.
Hold on.
No,
Your
don't want
love for me is not greater than that.
All right,
rooster.
Sandstorm. Can we change that? Actually,
You guys need to quit fucking off. It's good shit. I don't hate on your team or your
Your
traditions.
cock,
Come on.
your cock can crow as much as it wants, as long as I
Thank
don't got to
you.
stand in the stadium and listen
Hey.
to it.
Come with me.
so
Come with me on a Bratislava trip.
So I'll say,
Okay, let's go.
again, I'll say this. Do I have any problem with the CFP selection? No. Don't care.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter until that final game gets played.
Yep.
As long as you're in the conversation, that's all that
Yep.
matters.
Right
And-
now, it's Mizzou.
Yeah.
Mizzou, I want to fucking rip your head off. Afterward, I'll love you, but I want to rip your fucking head off next week.
At the end of the day, Smart's got his team doing what, he's got them doing their talking on the field. It's the conversation. It's the comment that Dan Lanning said. We're not about clicks. We're about winning. And that's what Kirby Smart is doing, right? It doesn't matter what you say during the week. At the end of the day, on Saturday, he's going to put up a W. That's all that matters. Put
Yep.
me anywhere in the top 4. I don't give a fuck. Put me in number 4. Fine.
My only comment I'll add to the end is when it's all said and done, a no-name Carson Beck may be a first or second round quarterback selection.
Is he a no name? I mean,
He's not on anybody's recruiting board or like draft board.
Oh, you're saying for the
Everybody's
NFL.
talking about Caleb Williams, Drake May.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Well,
For the
yeah, but
NFL.
I'm telling you, when it's all said and done, Carson Beck's going to be in that conversation.
And his numbers have been comparable or better than Stetson Bennett, right?
Yep.
I mean, shouldn't he be?
Yep. He
And
should
poor
be.
Stetson Bennett can't get outside
He-
the injury he's been freaking dealing with.
Well, alcohol. alcohol is what he's dealing with. But he
Well.
waited 3 years for his turn. And it should be noted, guess who's right behind him who has waited 2+ years? Brock Vandegrift, a 5-star. That's unheard of. Unheard of.
You're going to get 1 year of
To
playing
have
time.
a 4-star quarterback wait his turn and a 5-star quarterback behind him to wait his turn.
And they both waited. They both waited behind a no-name quarterback instead.
Exactly. A walk-on. A fucking walk-on for 2 years.
Yep. All right. So there we go. Week 9 is out of the way. We did a lot of talking. I know you
I mean,
off
this
air.
deep in the season, it's bound to be expected, right? Like, there's a
Yes.
lot of pontification that is to
Yes.
occur.
Now, I know we talked off air about discussing the Michigan situation, but unfortunately,
Yeah, I know
being
we're long.
pressed for time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
So let's, but
We're long in their tooth, and I apologize.
But let's definitely make sure we pivot back to that conversation. But let's go ahead and jump into week 10. So as you can see, I did put Scruffy's up. Interestingly enough, he chose LSU over Alabama, which I thought was an interesting choice, but it's a choice he's making, and I'm going to let him. But he is in. He's doing better than both of you two. But I know you don't give a fuck.
that
means nothing.
much.
That means nothing. All right, so here we go. We've got 8 games on the board. It is week 10. We are becoming short on weeks. So I went first last week. So Mac, I will let you go first this week since you
No,
went
sir.
out.
You
Wait,
were
but hold on.
technically-
Technically, you're winning.
You were technically winning, so you go first.
The tie break doesn't count. That only counts at
Says
the end of
who?
the season. I'm the commissioner.
Who just
Grinch
makes
and I
this
have
up as
done
he
this.
goes along.
Grinch and I have done this. We tied. I go a week. He goes a week. I go a week. You and I will follow the same philosophy. If it gets to the end of the season and the tie break is needed, that's the only time that comes into play. It doesn't matter the rest of the season. The tie
When
break
it's
might as well
beneficial
not
for
even
you.
matter. Last week was beneficial for you because I picked first. That's how this works.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Georgia,
So Missouri over Georgia, or Georgia over Missouri,
correct.
LSU, Alabama,
I'm going to take Alabama over LSU.
UConn, Tennessee,
Tennessee,
Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Haas,
Ole
give us
Miss.
the line. Oh, you want to go Ole Miss? Okay. Florida, Arkansas,
Florida,
Kentucky, Miss State,
Kentucky,
South Carolina, Jacksonville State,
South Carolina.
and Auburn, Vanderbilt.
Give me Auburn.
There you go. So now I shall go. Missouri, Georgia. I'm going to go Georgia. Alabama over LSU. Tennessee over UConn. Oh, yeah. See, this is Ole Miss over Texas A&M. Florida over Arkansas. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to stick with the same thing. I think I'm going to do the same thing. This is not the week to, I guess at the end of the day, I don't have to do anything different than Mac. I own the tiebreak. So I can just ride him out to the end of the season. He's the one that's going to have to blink. All right, Haas, it is to you, sir. In third place, Missouri, Georgia,
Yep. Georgia,
Alabama, LSU,
LSU,
Tennessee, UConn,
Tennessee,
Ole Miss, Texas A&M,
Ole Miss,
Florida, Arkansas,
Florida,
Kentucky, Miss State,
Kentucky,
South Carolina, Jacksonville State,
South Carolina,
Auburn, Vanderbilt.
Auburn.
There you go.
But
buddy.
hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
You guys went You guys went Ole Miss
Yeah, same as
over
you.
A&M?
Yes,
Okay.
same as you.
Okay.
Do you
Well,
want to
shit.
change?
I mean, no.
Yes.
No.
No.
No. I'll take the
Yeah, no.
LSU because
Yeah,
you guys
no.
both went Alabama.
Yes.
Right.
No. No. Yes. I'm confused.
Yep.
Do you want to change?
Nope.
Okay. So you're sticking with this: Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Auburn. Okay. And then Grinch, we're going to finish up with you: Missouri, Georgia.
Hey, 2 questions, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Did you know the line for Ole Miss A&M is 3?
I
3.
do. I
Yes,
looked it up already
3.
today.
Okay.
I do. But again, I'm sitting there going, okay, they're playing at home.
All right, just checking. Just
Yeah.
checking.
Does that give them an advantage? Because
Aside
Well-
from picking strategy, do any of you think Mizzou beats Georgia.
Believe me, I thought about it, but
No,
no.
I don't. Not at home. Not at home.
Georgia has just demonstrated they're on a whole nother fucking level. That's the problem. I know
Okay.
Darth Mizzou is the dark horse right now, and everybody wants to believe maybe they can pull in. I just don't think Georgia. Again, they may jump out to a 7-0 lead, but Georgia's going to eventually make the right adjustments because they've demonstrated they can do it all season. Until they show me something else, it's hard to
And
make
you know
that
what?
argument.
You know what? You give me time to think. I'm gonna go A&M.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mizzou.
Nope, I'm gonna go A&M.
A&M it is.
Oh, that
But
wasn't really my strategy, but
okay.
I'll go A&M.
I'll take that extra win over Haas. Why not? All right.
well, I'm mirroring Thor and Mac then.
Georgia, so you want Alabama here?
Alabama.
Okay. Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, Kentucky, South
So
Carolina.
you want to
Auburn.
get 2 games on me, huh, big boy? Is that the plan?
I
Mhm.
told you I'm throwing sticks at your legs.
Yep.
I'm like telling you to look left when I
Hey,
know
Grinch.
sticks are coming
Hey,
from the
Grinch.
right.
Hey, Grinch. I've never loved you more and hated you more at the same time.
So just out of curiosity, Haas,
Yeah.
just between, me, you, Grinch, and the 4 walls, since Mac is
And
not.
and the 5 listeners we have.
Yeah. What's the purpose of you choosing LSU over Alabama? Just out of curiosity. Alabama's playing at home.
Well,
and they are I know it's a 3-point line.
Haas, do you want
Yeah.
me to give you the argument that I
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
you
Thanks.
already know?
Go. Yeah,
LSU's offense is
Yeah.
one of the best in the nation.
it is.
And Alabama's defense ranks where?
It's kind of shit.
It's
don't know.
high. No, Alabama's offense or defense is very high.
I think it's
It's
susceptible
all
to an
about
LSU attack.
LSU's defense. The question is Alabama's offense is all based on chunk plays. Can Milrow just stay in the pocket long enough? Take sacks. Bomb 70 yards. Their whole offense is based around. So arguably, there's a very compelling case to say if LSU can just get its defense fucking together, they can win this game.
And here's the other reason.
And LSU's quarterback is playing fucking lights out.
He is. Daniels
Lights
is.
out.
But here's the reason I chose Alabama. A, you're playing at home, but B, they both had a bye week. So both have had sufficient time to prepare. And
But Alabama's not the Alabama we used to think.
No, of course they're not.
Here's the reason I ultimately didn't go with LSU, which is LSU has bit me in the ass this season, and betting against Alabama has bit me in the ass.
Wait, here's the reason I did, because I have to take my chances. When there's
Yes, you do.
when there's a spread that's like 3 points or less,
Three.
I have to take my shot.
Yep.
And if I get a chance to gain a game or 2, not only on you but at them at the same time, it's a leverage point.
So
Like,
let me ask you.
I love it.
So let me
I
ask
have
you
to.
this.
I don't have a choice.
Where does Alabama Ole Miss, like if you're comparing apples to oranges there or apples to apples, like who edges which one out, Alabama versus Ole Miss?
Hey, we're locked in, right? We're locked in.
Mhm.
Yes, here. So if you
Okay.
had to say Ole Miss, Alabama, who would you pick? I didn't think it was a fucking trick question.
I spilled a bunch of shit everywhere.
Okay. Alabama, Ole
Cool.
Miss, who would you pick?
We're locked in. Yes.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with that.
Saying it.
This has nothing to do with that. Do you
All right,
think Alabama's
everything from
better?
here on is a wild card.
Do you think Alabama's better than Ole Miss or the other way around?
I
There's
think
a
it's
reason
the
I'm
SEC
asking.
in a given Sunday. These 2 teams can fucking duke it out 10 times and it can split 50-50.
Except they can't.
And yes,
'Cause they play
except
on Saturday.
can.
They play on Saturday.
Unless you're playing Georgia.
No, they
As
can.
soon-
Every
as soon as
Sunday-
Max said that, I was
Given,
like, 'cause
given
they play on
A's-
Saturday.
That's smart ass.
Georgia's got an undefeated season, right? Last year. And they've been undefeated this year. So we can say any given Saturday, and that does apply to 99.9% of the teams. It does not apply to everyone clearly. because every given Saturday, Georgia has showed up and they balled out. So I'm just saying, LSU lost to Ole Miss. If Ole Miss and Alabama are apples to apples, and that's why I was asking the question.
Can I add a thought to that?
Yes, sir. Please.
Which is credit to Nick Saban, who I think is the greatest college football coach ever.
Pretty damn good.
I have said this statement as it relates to him, and I don't remember when, last year, year before. You coach out the anomalies. That is what makes them great. Their approach to the game and how they approach the analytics coaches out that what if it could. The caveat is fucking Auburn. I fucking hate Auburn because they have found a way to circumvent Nick Saban's cold calculating algorithm to create outcomes that make no fucking sense statistically to win games they shouldn't have. And they single-handedly, by the way, other than like a Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is also a virus in the algorithm. Because if you didn't know, the number one team in the country has not lost at home in over a decade. You have to go back to Johnny Manziel showing up to beat Alabama.
That's 2012
to break that cycle. So
Okay.
it takes a fucking Neo to like break the freaking algorithm for it to work.
Well, then I guess
otherwise, statistics are statistics. And I will tell you, I mean, obviously, when you're on the precipice of something this big, you get tense, right? And everybody within the Georgia program will tell you they don't know what streak they're on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they're at home. And is Mizzou really that fucking good? I don't know. We're going to find out, right? We're going to find out. Top to bottom, line to line. Are they that good for 4 quarters? I don't think they're that good. I don't.
The other reason I chose Alabama is they've only lost one game at home all season. That was to Texas.
In Saban we trust.
Yep. So, I mean, yes, I agree. LSU's defense or offense is playing on a whole nother level. That's unfortunately their defense is not. And so you just have to outpace Alabama. That's a tall order, even with Saban being in declining years. That's still a tall order. So that's what we're going.
You know, all good things come to an end.
You exactly. You take your shots when you can. I have no doubt that that's why you're doing it, and that's fine. All right, so let's move over to UNC Charlotte. Mac, Charlotte at Tulsa. Tulsa is the favor here, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Tulsa. It's not my home. Fucking Tulsa.
Considering that, you know, half of UNC's
Tulsa
team isn't going to be there.
Haas, who would you like?
Tulsa.
There you go. Okay, so Tulsa it is across the board. Watch Charlotte win this one.
Fuck them if they do. Fuck them.
All right, so there we go. Liquor and Leagues. We're locked in both in our offset league and in our primary SEC league. We are locked in. We are ready to go for week 10. Does Haas gain ground? Does Grinch overtake him? Do Mac and
Haas gains ground. Come on, cheer me on, folks. Grinch has won 2 years in a row. Haas has some love, folks.
I did.
He did, and then
last year
I won.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
last
I'm
year.
cheering
for Mac. Mac, 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 Mac.
I mean, hey, bro.
Mac.
I think we're all rooting for Mac, but we could also
Yes.
root for Grinch.
Yeah, you can root for me. I'm fine with that. But I'm rooting for Mac.
There you go.
Oh.
All right, gentlemen.
No
well,
back to back for this motherfucking Thor.
as always,
Fuck that guy.
I
Fuck that guy.
appreciate you guys being here week in and week out.
Fuck him.
No, chop him at the knees.
That's it.
Chop him at the knees on that Vanderbilt shitty ass field.
That's it. And I apologize. I misspoke. I said we had all run the Vanderbilt gauntlet. South Carolina has not.
Nope.
So
But
week
they will.
11, they potentially
They
have taken another
will.
loss. So we'll see how that
They
goes.
will.
So thank you, gentlemen, as always, for your hot takes, your perspective on SEC football here in the South. Love doing this week in and week out. For all you out there listening, go out and check out our episodes anywhere where you get your podcasts. We appreciate you tuning in week in as well. And so, obviously, gentlemen, I love you guys, and we will do this again next week. So thank you very much.